Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about a really cool game I just made. It's called it's in itch.io. Yeah. So later on I will share the link with you, and basically the story is due to global warming, all the pumpkins this year turn out to be evil spirits. In order to save the world, Dr. Dino invented a special fire gun to burn all the evil spirits to death and clean up our Halloween. Press control to fire, and you can, up, down, left, and right key to move Dr. Dinosaur. Okay, so let's play. Okay, basically, okay, so I go up and down and I start fire in control game, control key, and then once after I shoot one pumpkin, I got 10 scores. Yeah, you can see it. And I think the particle looks cool because after you hit each pumpkin, you can see the skull, like the magic evil spirit die. And then basically a dinosaur is riding a rocket. Yeah, he has a rocket butt. Yeah, so then you fire like the fire gun. It's super cool. Yeah, and you can see how he died if you touch it. You can hear the cool music, Get Over, and on the right, on right hand side, you can see press R for restart. So if you press R, another game comes out. So the game mechanic is really easy, and actually I set a pretty canvas. Yeah, so let's see how everything goes. Yeah, so let's go back to our Unity. Okay, so let's go back to Unity. Okay, and see how I made it. Okay, basically I made two quads. Like first, like I download a lot of free assets online, and then I find out this one. Yeah, if you click forest in type forest in itch.io, you can find out this exact uh, art, and I find some of the free assets on Unity, including the music and the dinosaur, pumpkins, and other stuff. Yeah, so it's really cool. And the plugin I use is I think I use a lot of like different free um, free sounds, free effect, free particles, and some cool models. Okay, so first we need to yeah, make two quads, and then you apply the material on top of it. Okay, so let's see how I made my background. Okay, so those two are two quads. How to make a quad? You go right right click on your mouse and 3D object quad. Yeah, you can see quad. So I made two quads. And then how I made the texture, let's see. Okay, basically I download a lot of cool stuff, and then I kind of download some textures, and then I drag my texture to the quad. And remember to use a lead. A lead is a really cool shader, because if you use standard, you see everything looks really boring, and like the color is not that good. So if you go to Elite and texture, and the this will look exact like your artwork, and really good. Yeah, so I made two quads, and remember, if you wanna kind of like move your quads and duplicate your quads and move next to each other, you can hit V. V means the vertex, so you can kind of duplicate and snap into the, for example, like let me show you. Command D and hit V and hit W. Yeah, to kind of like a snap. Yeah, snap to it. Yeah. So it's really easy. Okay, so this is how I made the background. Then I drag my dinosaur. Okay, so basically I have a model layer. I found those basically, I think it's on Unity Store. Yeah, for example, like I find pumpkin. Yeah, today I more like walk through uh, the whole process. So if you want to know more about the details, you can kind of private message me or maybe give me some advice. Then I can do more details or answer your questions. Yeah, because if you want to know more, then it means like I need to create a 5-hour tutorial. Yeah, that's why I will try my best to explain every little details about this game for you. Yeah, okay. So if you type dragon, okay, dragon, and you go here because there are so many things, right? So I just click 3D and then I go to price and I hit 0. Yeah. Okay. So okay, it's not here. Okay. So basically, maybe I type some other keywords like a fairy. Fairy. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, okay. So I think I type a lot of different stuff and it comes out to this dinosaur. Yeah. I kind of forget what I type. Dragon fight or something. Shoot. Yeah. I mean, you can find a lot of cool um, other 3D models, but yeah, I kind of couldn't. I couldn't really find it back. That's fine. Okay. So maybe toys for the penguin. Yeah, I think I download penguin. Before I was thinking about using penguin fighting pumpkin, but later I think dragon looks cool, and I just happened to find out this 3D dragon, so I choose the dragon over penguin. Yeah. Okay. So because Halloween is coming, okay, pumpkin. So let's see. Oh, pumpkin. 3D model. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can just put 3D pumpkin, and I think I choose one of it. Yeah, I choose pumpkin. Yeah, some pumpkin. Okay, so that's what I found, my assets. Then, or like a Sketchfab, you can find some cool stuff on Sketchfabs as well. Or like a Triple Squeeze. Yeah, so after I finding those, I did a little change. For example, I make the X like a little higher so it will look like a gun, fire gun. So I can shoot some fires out of the axis. And then pumpkin, basically I add like some different textures, pumpkin texture, pumpkin leaves texture on top of my model, make materials and apply to my model. So I did a little bit of makeup on my 3D models as well. Okay, so this is the basic setup. Okay, so let's see how I made my player. Okay, so player, it's better to have some like it's better to have kind of like a game object, empty object, and put like the transform. It's better to make it 0, 0, 0, and you can move your camera in the background. Make it not 000, but player is better to make it stay 000. So basically I made this 000, and then I adjust my whole screen. Second. Okay, by the way, I need to tell you this. Sorry. Let's go to build settings. Yeah. And then this is very important. We need to know like define our screen size and define what types of game we are going to build. So, for example, that if you are going to build an iOS or Android, you can pretty much select those two or Windows platform. But today, what I'm going to show you is how to use WebGL to make a game, so we can upload to itch.io or some or your personal website. So basically, you need to add this. If you happens to forget to add your OpenScene, then Unity will build it for you. So you see, like this is the accessory 0. If you have multiple scenes, if you add a second one, it will appear 1. The third one will appear 2. So this is basically an index number. Okay, so let's see. Let's hit the because okay. So let's see. If you see Unity logo here, it means like it's building WebGL. Okay, if we switch it and switch platform, if I hit this button, then this logo will go up. Yeah, so okay, so let's do it. Okay, so when I press player settings, then we jump to WebGL's tab. Okay, so what I was thinking is like because the tile, the image I got from the forest was square, so that's why I think if I have two tiles, then it's better to have like the ratio is better to be 1 2. So I made this 1200 and made it 600 for the height, so the ratio can be good, like just put 2 tiles and everything looks good. Okay, so yeah, and then yeah, we need to make the canvas. Okay, so this is the first step. And second step is that we need to go to game and then add, because there are no screens appears our ratio, maybe 1 1 2 now. Yeah, so we need to add our own customized. Yeah, you can write web for 4, and I think this one is better, but I mean it's just a test, so you can choose which one you want, and after it build, it doesn't really matter. It's just for you to do the hit the play button and play. So I use aspect ratio and 10 by 10, and yeah, I think it's cool. So yeah, so I made this 1200 by 600 for the width and height, and then yeah, we set here, and then low res, I mean it's all fine. Okay, so this is a high res. Yeah, I mean the text still looks a little pixely, right? Okay, that's totally fine. Okay, so first we are setting everything. And second, oh, yeah, I think before making a game, you need to know like what types of game you are doing. And personally, I look up this tutorial. I think this tutorial is amazing. Okay, Unity. Unity 3D Learn. Okay, so basically I follow this tutorial and I revise a little bit. This space shooter tutorial, and I revise a little bit. It was top down, right? Top down shooter, like space shooting game, and I make it like a sideway, and I change the texture, I changed the little bit of content, and I made my own game. So if you want to know more about the details, I encourage you to go here, Space Shooter tutorial on Unity's official website, and go through every little tiny single tutorial, and you will know about the detail. Today I just walk you through how I made it. Okay, so it's good to make your parent set that it is player, and those are the little elements. For example, like those are the 3D components, and this one is the parent. It holds all the movement, all the physics, all the collider mesh collider, and script and stuff. Okay, so um, yeah, so this is our player, and then we need to first one we set up the player. Okay, so what's the special about uh, the player? Yeah, we need to add a rigid body because we want want the dragon to be to can interact with the physics. The physics, we need to uncheck use gravity because this game is basically floated. You see, yeah. So you see the Y. Y. Let me show you the gizmo. Okay, so this is Y. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, you see Y. So if we click use gravity, then dinosaur will go down. So that's why we need to uncheck the gravity. And then we need to add a capsule collider and its trigger. Okay, so what does it mean? Why there's a trigger? We need to go to the scripts because usually the difference between collider and trigger, collider is more like making a collision, right? And the trigger is when you enter in some area, or when some stuff bump into your area, you can trigger make an event happen. For example, let's see the player controller. Okay, yeah, okay. So let's see player controller. Okay, so first, as for script, we made a boundary, right? We before that you need to input system.serializable for this to be really good layout publics. Okay, so if you put this, then you can see like this boundary looks so clean. Without serializable, this will be x min, x max, y min, y max. Everything looks really, really ugly. So that's why we need to put serializable system.serializable and inside the bracket, so we can kind of organize our information better on the public variables. Yeah. Okay, so let's made a class. Yeah, player controller. Then we need to add some public variables and later on drag or write some numbers. So first one, we need to write speed. What speed mean? It's like if I have a speed, then my dinosaur can start kind of like floating to the according to my arrows or the key on the keyboard. Yeah, you need to add some speed. And public boundary. Okay, so this is a class name, and this is a reference name. Okay, so if you do this, then this is the class. Okay, so what's the class mean? Class means that, okay, so let's go out top. Class is this guy. Okay, what's class? Class is the kind of like a reference, like you can refer back to class and get those. If you set those numbers, you can use this variable and go back to grab your class, anything related to class. For example, if I had this boundary, then later on I can use this, for example, like boundary dot x min. So this boundary, because this is the boundary class reference, so you just say, oh, boundary dot x min, dot x min, dot x max. Yeah, so once you use class and reference this type, then you can use boundary and dot whatever you want inside boundary class. Yeah, so yeah, and then those are like this is the variable and this is the type of the different variables. So okay, so let's see, public game object shot. So because our dinosaur, we it can shoot a lot of different fire. Yeah, so we need to make a game object, and later on we will insert our prefab the boat. Yeah, so basically when we see player, we made a public, we drag the boat into players shot. So drag this boat to player shot. Okay, then let's start explaining other. Okay, so player controller. Okay, so transfer shot spawn. Oh, we need to make a transform. Transform is this part. Is, you see, transforms shot spawn. So basically all we need is the position of the shot spawn. So we create a shot spawn. Yeah, shot spawn. Spawn. Oh, shot spawn. We create a shot spawn. Oh, it's under player. Yeah, shot spawn. We create this shot spawn, and then we drag this to the player's shot spawn. Yeah, here. So this is the spawn that we are going to spawn the fire. Yeah, okay. So this is shot spawn and float my time. This means that the time. My time means time dot delta time. Okay, my time, I can kind of add a little bit of my time to make the time adjustable. Okay, so basically my time. Okay, so if you put 0, it means like you want a current time. But if you kind of add 1 or 2, and you can slow down the game. So because my time equals my time plus time dot delta time. Time dot delta time means that it's current time. So okay, so that's the way you want to delay the game. And public float next fire. It's the float that you want the next fire. So for example, like next fire, I want to after 1/4 of unit, then I want to fire next fire. Yeah, and fire delta is the speed, that kind of like the rate you want to fire. So I made it like a 1/4 as well. So yeah, you can fire it fast. Okay, so this is for the bullet. So this is my time. My time equals time dot my time equals my time plus time dot delta time. Means this is a current time. If input get button fire 1, this is the control key on PC. Yeah. control key on both PC and Mac. And those two and means and. My time greater than next fire, which means that if I happen to press control button and my current time is larger than next fire. Next fire we said uh, 1/4 of the time. Yeah. So this means that if I press this and I wait longer than 0.25 second, then that's fire. It means like I just want a pulse, like I don't want to kind of continue shooting and there's no pulse. So if my time is greater than pulse and I happen to um, press the control key, then that's fire. In, in instantiate is we need to add shot. First one is the object you wanna instantiate, and second one is the object's position. It's like where you wanna spawn. So this is the place you are going to spawn. This is the rotation you wanna spawn. So okay, so this means that if I press the control key and my time is longer than the next fire, which is 1/4 second or 1/4 time. Yeah. So and then yeah, and then please fire it. Fire the shot. Okay, the shot is here. The game object. The game object is here, and we insert bolt. We drag this bolt to that. Okay, so yeah, and then next fire equals next fire minus my time. Okay, so what does this mean? So next fire equals next fire minus my time. So if my time, it's like next fire, because my time is current time, right? So we can start making the next fire. So this will loop. See, this is the current time, right? My time is 0. Okay, let's see. My time is 0. So it's equally not really. Yeah, so it means like you didn't add anything. It's 0. So if I press control key and my time is greater than next fire, then keep shooting. So this is the shooting part. The next fire equals next fire minus my time. So if the next fire is equals next fire, then you just keep pressing. Yeah, basically it's like that. Okay, so avoid fix update means this is the place where we put our physics. So rigid body RB, get component rigid body. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that we need a rigid body for our players. So we need a reference. Yeah, it's called this is called the type of this variable. And this variable RB equals get component rigid body. So you can get, once you call this out, you can get the rigid body from the player. We need to call the rigid body here. So yeah. So that's it. Let's see. Okay, and float, move horizontal. This one means that if I press horizontal key, then please float horizontal. If I put vertical key, please move vertical. So we have a new movement, which is new vector, and you need to press like okay, so this is our new movement for our player. So this move horizontal is here. If I press horizontal key, okay. If I press the vertical key, yeah. So movement plus speed is the velocity of our rigid body, and our rigid body's position is that. Okay, so what's math f dot clamp? This means that, oh, my player only can move inside this space. Okay, so what space can you move? This is for the x. This is for the y. This is for the z, because in our game, our z, we couldn't move like a backward and forward, so we only can put like a x y panel. So we only move the x y panel. And as for this game, I was testing out and I found out that, yeah, so basically I want this to move probably around, oh shit, around those area, like this, this. Yeah, so this is the area that I wish my player can move. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we need to clamp the player inside this area, and then math.clamp. You need to let's see. Yeah, you need to add x, y, z, like the vector 3. So so we need to make sure, like for the x, yeah, we need to make sure this to here. So I made it my x, yeah, boundary. My x mean is minus 19. My x max is 17. My y mean is 22. My y max is 22, minus 22 and 22. So you see, like this is 22. This is minus, kind of minus 22. Yeah, so basically I was clamping the player inside the game. So make sure the game looks good. Okay. Okay, so there's no Z. Okay, so this is our player controller. Okay, so then after we make a player controller, then we are going to make our monster, which is pumpkin. Okay, so I made a prefab for the pumpkin. Let's see what's inside pumpkin. Okay, so as for pumpkin, we need to make a rigid body as well. And I just texted out that if I don't check those, and it will start rotate in a really weird way. Okay, let me show you. Yeah. Okay, so if I don't do that, because, oh shit. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, so if I don't put this, oh shit. Okay, R. Okay, let's do it again. Wanna hide somewhere really safe though. I wish there's a safe place. Okay. So basically, if I don't, oh, sorry, the pumpkin. Okay, so this is the final prefab. Okay, so if I don't freeze those position, the pumpkin will rotate like upside down, back and forth, really weird. And then if I don't freeze the rotate, oh, if I don't freeze Y, every pumpkin will flow upward. So it's like a blue. So all the pumpkins, they are like this and start from button and fly upward. So that's why I need to freeze the Y position and make sure all the pumpkin floating the same direction towards the dinosaur. And I also freeze the rotation for X, right, just so the pumpkin can just rotate this way, right? So, for example, if I take out those, we will see. Yeah. So sometimes you need to make. Yeah, you see, if I don't do that, all the pumpkin they look like they are drunk. Pretty scary. Okay, so that's why I freeze those, and it will look much better. To be honest. Yeah. So you see, like it's all face you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So that's why I did this. Yeah. Okay. So capsule collider. I click this. Okay, so you need to add a collider. Why there's a collider here? Because, okay, capsule collider. Because you need a collider, which when the when the boat collide with you, then you can explode, right? Can destroy, explode, make an explosion. So it's trigger because you only need one trigger, right? So the bolt has the trigger. So when the bolt detect you, you need a collider for it to be detect. So imagine that this player has a trigger as well, right? And the pumpkin doesn't have a trigger but it has a collider. So the collider is the place where one as for the trigger, it's like an area detect which some if there's something goes in, then it will trigger an event. So as for collider, it means that okay, I am the object. I want to collide with someone. So just imagine this is concrete stuff, and then the boat and this dinosaur is kind of an area detect this concrete stuff to get in, get out. So you don't need a trigger, right? Okay, so this is a collider. And then let's see what I put inside this prefab. Inside this prefab, you can add a random rotator. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know whether there's a better solutions because pretty much I look up the space shooter tutorial. So what I made was that I create a tumble. Tumble is a float to show like how you like how you wanna rotate. If you make it really large, like 100, you will rotate like crazy. Let's see. Yeah, because sometimes you need to start testing now, and this one will be really crazy. Okay, let's see. If you make the number too high, this will go a little too crazy, right? Okay, so if I make it 6, it will look better. Yeah, slower. Yeah, it looks better. It's slower, right? So that's why I made it the number smaller. So reach body angular velocity rendered on Unisphere. You can go to Unity's documentary. Unity random 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 dot Unisphere. Random dot Unisphere. Yeah. Okay, so what's Unisphere? Oh, sorry, that's fine. Okay, so it means that I will random rotate inside a sphere. Yeah, so this is pretty much of it. So this is the render. So as for our hazard, which is our pumpkin, we need to put like a little interesting kind of like a function. So we won't feel so boring shooting it. Okay, destroy by contact. What does this say is destroyed by contacts? Okay, so um, destroyed by contacts also highly affect your scores because if um, if the pumpkin hit was destroyed by a bolt, then um, you can get 10 scores, right? So we need to see like, oh, destroyed by contents, whether you are kind of destroyed by player or destroyed by boat, then you need to kind of like verify here, and then you can get the score if you got destroyed, right? So if you bump into the player, imagine like there are a lot of thousands, millions of pumpkins, and they are all coded in this way. For example, like we put the game object explosion, we put public player explosion. We need two explosion. First one is the normal explosion. The second one is the player explosion. They are different. The player explosion is this one. Let's see. Yeah, this is the player explosion. Just drag, drag, drag. So this is, yeah, that's fine. So this is pretty much the player explosion. Okay, and then let's see what's the player explosion. Player explosion. I made it like a little mysterious. It's bad, right? It looks cool. It's like, oh, Mr. Dr. Dino is getting evil or going to another dimension with bats. Yeah. So this is the if pumpkin, if the bad guy bump into the good guy and player die. Okay, player just explore. Okay. Okay, so let's see. So you need two different particles or different explosion sprites. Okay, cool. Okay. So this is the two can object you need to insert. And then public scores value. So first you need to have a scores value, which means that this pumpkin, if a bolt, if you shoot the pumpkin and pumpkin detect is there's a bolt bump into him, then you will get 10 scores. Later on, we are going to write the scores inside game control. So you will see that. Okay, so yeah, and the score value. And private game controller. Basically, later on, we are going to write a game controller. I think as for making a game, everything is kind of like floating everywhere, and game controller is the highest control for the whole game. For example, like the hazard, how to spawn um, enemy. It's more like a manager, right? You start managing like, okay, so the enemy needs to come and the score need to show up, and when is game over, when is the game start. So game control script is basically a game object here, and you can take it, yeah, game controller, so you won't kind of trying not to put anything in visually inside game controller. Game controller should be superior everything and more like a orchestra the whole show or something. Yeah, so that's what game controller do. Yeah, okay, so let's go back to yeah, jump fast. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so game controller Okay, we need to find game controller so we can send the score back. So the best way to find a game controller is to use the class and reference. Yeah, so you make game controller as a class, and so you can access to game controller script, and then get the reference. And then later on, if you want anything, you just game controller dot something, and then you can grab anything here to here. So it's so convenient. But you need to make some settings. For example, you need to do this. So Unity knows that you are going to grab the game controller from other script. For example, like game object, game controller object, game object that find with tag. So before we made an empty object and we put the game controller script there. And then remember game controller and player. I think those two are important. Player, game controller need to be put the tags. Yeah. Okay. So if game controller object equals no, then please get the game controller. If game controller does not equals no, means like, if you find a game object, if you find a script, just use it. If you don't find a script, please debug. Go to the console and type, cannot find game controller script. Yeah, it's just protect you. Like sometimes we need some log for people to know like what's going on. Yeah. Okay, so okay, we put a boundary here. Why? Because when we spawn the shots, we will instantiate too many shots. Then the whole this list, you will see like bazillion of shots spawned here, instantiate here. So there will be like a million spouts here. So we need to destroy it. Okay. So boundary. So we create a boundary. A boundary is here. If anything outside will be destroyed, everything inside will be safe. Okay, so boundary, we have a tag. We create a new tag and then we put boundary there. And then we had a collider, and this is a trigger. It's not a collider. Imagine a trigger is a line of area, and a collider is concrete. It's like, okay, ready to fire is rigid. It's something that can be interact. So its trigger is just a place that detect whether something is in or is out, and you can make events. Yeah, so we make a boundary as trigger. Okay, so if other tag as boundary return or instantiate. Okay, so what does it mean? Because we are going to this destroy by contents is attached inside pumpkins. So when the pumpkins detect there's a boundary, and just forget about it, because this boundary will destroy this pumpkin. So you need to make sure, because you see like we have a destroy function, which means that anything just touch, if you dare touch this pumpkin, everything will be destroyed and the pumpkin will die as well. So it means that if anything touch this pumpkin, and because of the boundary, there will no pumpkin shows up because boundary is in the area. So we need to make sure that the pumpkin is if auto tag boundary return. If we detect the boundary, please return. And then if auto tag is player, if we it's like if you detect the boundary, please ignore it. Just return and go back. And then you start instantiate your explosion, transfer position, transfer rotation. So this is for the explosion, right? So anything, just make an explosion. But if you find out there's a player around, please instantiate another called player explosion, another game object, and then please write game over, or please define if the pumpkin bump into the player. Please say it. It's game over. Yeah, and the game over, game control add score. Yeah, if game over, then please add score. And score value, we just add is 10, right? Score value is 10, right? Okay, so and it's game over, and please destroy other game object, which is either player or both, and destroy game object, which means please destroy the pumpkin as well. Yeah, okay, so this is the pumpkin script. Okay, so we need to spawn, right? Okay, spawn. So this is the spawn thing. Yeah, spawn. Okay, so we need to spawn the monster. And how do we spawn? We see that spawn in over canvas. Okay, so we need to make a game controller to make a spawn. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we need to make a spawn. Okay, we have a shot spawn, and we have like monsters spawn monster, right? So after the monster got spawned, then we need to do like the shot spawned. Okay, so basically, oh sorry, it's a game controller. Okay, so we have our pumpkin, right? And we have our spawn values. Have our count, have our weight, start waiting. This is totally control, like when is the pumpkin show? How long should the pumpkin wait? Because if you don't put those numbers, the pumpkin will be like a group of pumpkin just start shows up, and dinosaur have nowhere to wait. So you got to have some like rooms, little rest time for the spawn, so the spawn looks more natural, right? Okay, so and then score test. It's like we need to use UI. We create a UI canvas, and we put 3 of our text inside. Okay, so what's the 3 text here? Okay, so as for UI, everything looks a little different. Imagine this canvas is this canvas. Okay, then I know it's a little hard at the beginning. I don't even know what I was doing. So to see that, you can see score test, get over, and restart. So we also need to make script, in game controller to kind of coordinate like when is the best time for those to show up. So you need to call like tell the game how to place the pumpkins. Then you need sometimes to wait so those pumpkins won't bump into each other together, so they can start like a spawn separately. And you need to have the score text. Then you need, okay, on the tutorial it says GUI text, but GUI text is going to be obsolete pretty soon, so it's good to use just text. Yeah, And in the Unity tutorial, it teaches you how to put um, create a game object and put all the GUI component attached to the game object. But it is not a good idea because it's better to create an UI canvas for all the UI. So you can have this triangle, like for example, if I create a canvas, then I can use this, yeah, to start making the position change inside the UI area. If you wanna know more about UI, please watch my previous tutorial. I believe it's 11, the previous one. Yeah, and I pretty much talk about the UI, the principle for UI. Yeah. Okay, so we have the score text, the restart text, and game over text. Yeah, okay. So we create a canvas and then we put 3 texts under it. Okay, so this is game controller, and we need to create 2 balls. One is for game over, another one is to restart. Okay, so as for at the beginning of the game, just start it, right? And then we need to make game over as false, restart as false. And then we need to create the text like empty, so we won't show any text. So whatever you see here won't be seen because of this script, like those 2, right? And then as for score, we want the initial to be 0. And we start update the score. We call this function, and the update score is here. Yeah, like the score text equals score.score, and the score will be added like every time because we get this, right? So game controller adds score value because we had the integration because of this script. So we can start adding the score, which we set like 10, to this script. Yeah. So yeah, you can use score plus score from here. Yeah. Okay. Then we set game over, restart, right? And then we start updating our stuff. Okay, so we need to spawn our wave. Okay, coroutine. Okay, so first we need to do the coroutine. As for coroutine, there's a certain way of writing it. First, you need to write void star and start coroutine. Yeah, this is the set for how to initiate a coroutine. First is start coroutine and put your function here. Okay, so this is the function and it's here, right? And we need to return an enumerator, which means that, okay, so if anything fits the truth, if anything is right, then keep looping. Yeah, so we need to have an enumerator for us to keep loop everything. So what's this mean? This means that, okay, so because we don't want to kind of keep looping and crazily looping, so we need have a little bit of time for the player to start putting their hands on the keyboard or start like prepare like a little bit of time. We don't want to just like jumping. We give the player a little bit of time. So you need to use yell return. Okay. After we give the player a little bit of time, then we use while loop. While, yeah, I mean, if you write true, then it's forever true, right? So use while true, it means like, okay, I want to loop it forever until something happen to break, yeah, the whole code. Okay, so for int I equals 0, I less than hazard count. Okay, so what does it mean? Okay, so it means like, oh, I count one round, count second round, count third round. Hazard count is like if I put 10, then at the beginning 10 hazard, 10 pumpkins will be spawned first, and then after wait a second one will spawn. Okay, after wait for seconds, then the third one will. So it will keep looping, and this I will keep adding, right? Because at the beginning it's 0, and the hazard count, yeah, is always like a, yeah, higher, right? So it will keep looping. Okay, so this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And then 10, if I write 10, it will still go back, because 0, yeah, so this will keep looping, yeah. Okay, so this is how the pumpkin will be spawned. Okay, so this will spawn value. We just create an empty spawn monster. So this is the spawn value. Okay, spawn value x random range. Okay, so y, we want to make the y is here. Okay, let's see. Sorry. Oh. Spawn. Okay, so basically we want to make the y is the vertical one. So we don't want the pumping get inside the thing. We just want it going like, okay, going like this. Okay, oh shit, it's stuck. Okay, pumpkin. Okay, so basically we don't want this pumpkin go z direction. Yeah, we don't want the pumpkin go z direction. We just want the pumpkin go this direction, and the spawn from here to here. So that's why we had like a spawn position. So if we make a spawn position like the y, we can set like probably from 25 to minus 17 somewhere here, and start spawning, and the direction, the speed is going toward here, then we are pretty good. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so start coroutine. Vector spawn position, new vector spawn. Okay, and y, yeah, we have the random range. Random range, that those values are not really just from one point, it will random range. Okay, so z, we are going to set z into 0, so the pumpkin won't go back to, or like go the z axis. So yeah, that's really important. Oh, okay, then quaternion, it means that quaternion identity means like, oh, I don't wanna rotate. Yeah, I just stay there. I don't wanna rotate. So we don't really want our spawn point rotate. So make sure instantiate the object, position, and rotation is there. And then yell return new, wait for second, spawn wait. So basically this means is that, okay, while it's true, then please start looping. And then loop. Oh, loop here, and then please wait a second. Then another second, because if you loop here, then it start looping. and then please wait a few seconds and go back and keep loop again. So this is kind of like the first round, and then after it's like a 10 rounds, wait a second, go back, 10 rounds, go back, second. Okay, so this is the looping part. And yell return new, wait for seconds. Okay, then if game over, you see here, we have the game over, we call game over where, because the player, okay, so this one, okay, if the pumpkin bump into the player, then we call game control game over. Okay, so game over. If game over, then restart text. Yeah, true. Okay. And you can also add scores. Let's see. Add score value, right? Score value is from here. Score value, right? Okay. Cool. And you start like adding your score points. Okay, so we have other like a random rotator you can apply to the pumpkins, and movers. Movers is like okay. So movers you need to apply to two object, a game object. One is the pumpkin, another one is the boat, because they are all moving. So you can share one script, but make sure the speed is public, so you can use the minus, for example, like minus 10, and you will go the minus up direction. So this one is like, oh, you get the rigid body, and the velocity is transfer dot right in speed. For example, this is the boat, so the speed is 60. But if you apply to the pumpkin, you can make it minus. Yeah, because before like 60, but as for pumpkin, it's so fast. It goes so fast. So that's why I make it like 15. So basically, you can totally use those. Use the same script to indicate like the same movement. Okay, so destroyed by times. Okay, so what's this for? This is for our boundary. Destroyed by boundary. Okay, we have another code. Okay, so lifetime. We don't want something to become too fast. So we want to make sure that they can stay there for a while, right? So for example, like our spawn, like the player explosion, like the bad one, like that. Let's see this one. Okay, so if the player die, this one, before I put the number only, for example, if I only put 10, you couldn't see the whole animation. For example, like that. Okay. Hey, you still can. Okay, never mind. But as for me, I just find out that I want to make sure that destroyed by time, the explosion can stay longer. So that's why I put 200. I just make it so large, so make sure all the animation can be played. Yeah. Okay. And then we need to put another explosion lifetime. Yeah, this one is fine. I didn't put a lot. The explosion. Okay, so yeah, so it's kind of like a done, right? Yeah, destroy. Okay, cool. Okay, so those are the scripts. And then I go to Unity Asset Store and I download bunch of fantasy or sound effects. here, and I just dragging, and make sure play on awake on the bolt explosion one. You can put some cool like the explosion, and the bolt you need to put under player because it's like you shoot it. It's the 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 control is in the player. Make sure it's not player awake because we don't wanna at the beginning you just shot because it comes with the player. Okay, so and then we had the game controller. We put the background music BG, and I had a lot of different background. And make sure the play on wake and the loop is on. And then I think uh, player controller, yeah. And there's I think as for this there's audio here. When you shoot, when you fire, yeah, you put an audio clip. Think some audio clip. Okay, so never mind. Okay, so basically that's about it. That's the game, and I think it's pretty cool. Let's see again, and you can adjust the audio volume as well. Yeah, and basically I think the most important of elements of the game is kind of like how you treated each element. Yeah, so the music, everything, if you can kind of compose it very well, and it will be a really fun game. Right now, it's just a game mechanic, and later on, I can add some cool stories. So make sure it has a lot of fun stuff. You see, like when I shoot, you see the reason why those clones are are destroyed and faded away because I had destroyed by time, and when the balls flying away from the boundary it disappeared. So that's why. Okay. Okay, so thanks for watching, and see you next time. If you have any like questions or some stuff that you wanna share, then uh, feel free to post on the comments on my social media. Okay, thanks. Okay, bye bye.